Hello, and welcome back to American Airlines Arena or Center. I don't even know what this place is called. These flashing green lights are brutal, and they're flashing because the Golden Knights didn't win tonight. They were not flashing the last time I did this because the Golden Knights won. But we're going to start with good news, and I'm going to keep trying to lean forward because every time I come back here, my head goes all crazy. So I'm going to keep trying to lean a little bit forward. Start with good news. Best news of the night. Number one news. This is great. I'm telling you. Trust me. This is great. Golden Knights are going to win at home now. The Golden Knights are going to go and grab the Clarence Bowl at home now. Why do it here? Why do the sweep and make it all, mean and whatever? Give them one. Give their fans one. It's fine. I'm kind of being super facetious about this. I would have loved that it was over. However, if they were to win it in 5, if we can guarantee that the Golden Knights win it, let's do it at home. They haven't won a big-time one at home. We got the Colorado one at home, the Game 7 against Minnesota at home. But we haven't quite had one that, we don't have a trophy presentation that we could potentially get at home. So that's certainly a positive. And we'll talk about touching it. Maybe I'll think about talking about that. We did some of the research today before this one. But the other good thing is, does anyone remember my prediction from before the series? I made sort of 3 predictions all bundled up into one neat little package. And I did it, I believe, I want to say it was on the Q&A. And then I doubled down on a radio show. I think I was in Calgary, and I said 3 things. 1, Golden Knights win in 5. 2, Adin Hill gets 2 shutouts. 3, the Dallas Stars will get 8 goals in the entire series. Here we are, 4 games in. We got 1 game to go. If Adin Hill gets his shutout in the next one, all of those will come true. So let's just do that. Let's just make me look smarter. Hey, if the Golden Knights go on to win the cup, there's going to be a lot of Ken looking dumb. So, hey, let's make him look a little bit smarter here in the Western Conference Finals. That'll be fun, right? Let's do that before we have to go down all the path of all the stuff that I've been wrong on, which is plenty if they do end up making it to the final and winning this thing. Hopefully we make it happen. So let's get to the hockey, though, because there's plenty of not great. It was certainly... I don't necessarily think it was Vegas's worst game of the series, actually, which I'm interested to kind of say now that I think back at that, because it's like, well, they've only lost 4 times. It's certainly not the worst game they've played in the postseason. Like the Winnipeg game 1 was certainly worse. Probably both. It's probably the best loss. I mean, if you go that route, not that that's does anybody anything for anyone, but like the actual hockey itself today, it was a little bit more of Dallas Stars style of game. And today was when we came in the series. Yeah. Look at people remembering my fantastic prediction that hopefully is going to come true when the Golden Knights win 4-0 in Game 5. But before the series started, there were a couple of things that I really expected to kind of happen a little bit more than had happened in Games 1, 2, and 3 that certainly kind of came to life here in Game 4. And the biggest one of those was I thought that the neutral zone was going to be difficult for the Golden Knights to get through. And I thought that they were going to have to be very disciplined, getting the puck in deep and finding a way to forecheck and then making something happen off of that forecheck when they're swarming, when they're making these plays. And I thought that Dallas was much better in that. And what it led to was a lot more zone time, a lot more low to high, a lot more tip opportunities. And also, it led to multiple chances for the Golden Knights coming out the other way. So the very first goal, they catch him on a nice breakout that leads to a good opportunity. Vegas wins a loose puck. Smith puts it on goal. Still not sure if he meant to shoot that or not. It doesn't really matter. It looked pretty. That's not a word. That's not how you use the English language. I'm doing it anyway. It looked very pretty. And all of a sudden, Carlson's got it, and the Golden Knights are up 1. So that's like the one opportunity. The other one, the Golden Knights are kind of not looking great in the defensive zone. They're kind of taking on a little bit of water. Hill spills one out in front, but the Golden Knights have done a good job all season long. I think they're going to continue doing it in this series, that when that play happens and the puck spills out in front, they were able to quickly make the play, move the puck up, and spring Jack Eichel for that breakaway. Now, that goal didn't go in on that particular shot, but that same zone entry, which is a breakaway, so it's a clear zone entry, a free zone entry, leads to the McNabb pass across that Marcia so buries and makes that happen. So That's kind of what I thought we would see more of. And we did get some of that little rush. We had a little bit of time where it's 3-on-2 this way, 3-on-2 this way. And then there was one where I thought, okay, 3-on-2, 3-on-2, and then looked like it was going to head towards a 2-on-1 to Vegas. That's more of what I expected. And as I think we get further now, as we get into game 5, I think that's how Vegas is going to end up winning game 5, is because they are starting to realize, they being Dallas, they have to pressure more on their forecheck. They have to get in deeper. They have to have all of their defensemen as active as they have been all season, and they're good at it. This is the DeBoer system. This is what he does well. They can do it. So if they can push that envelope and keep pushing down, that's going to make the exits a little bit more difficult on Vegas. It's going to lock up the neutral zone a little bit more. But what it's also going to do is it's eventually going to lead to these chances for the Golden Knights. And they've been historically, and this season included, very good at when they get those chances, even if they don't generate directly off it and score the goal directly off of it. It has led to longer zone possession, bigger opportunities, and eventually the dam has broken. So that's what we want to see. And that's where that adjustment. So I asked Cassidy tonight about adjustments, and I think the biggest one that he really kind of went into is on the strong side when they're exiting. So whatever side of the ice the puck is on, it's going to come up the board that way instead of going all the way back around. On that side, when the puck's coming out, they're flooding more numbers to that side. You're getting more numbers over to that side. And what's happening is the Golden Knights are now not having the option to go up the wall, not really having a lot of that space on the chip through the middle. And then they're going to have to make a different decision, whether it's to go back, or what happened a couple of times, they did pop 1-2-on-1 out of it, was going the other way, rimming out the weak side and going all the way back around and having someone there to either win a 1-on-1 or at least tie it up and make it a little bit so that it's not a turnover, which is probably more likely if you're playing into numbers coming out the other way. So that's something that I think the adjustment is going to be made, and going to be, I guess, let's just put it this way. They noticed it in the first period. They wanted to adjust it in the second. It didn't get all that much better, but by the third, it certainly did get better. So the expectation of, okay, well, we're flying home now tomorrow. We got all day off tomorrow. We got all morning skate to work on it on Saturday. We're going to have this opportunity, like all of that. I think that that's going to be taken care of a little bit better than it has been. The other adjustment is something that I do think Vegas has to be a little bit more aware of, is when the numbers were coming out consistently, even numbered rushes. So when it's 3-on-3, 2-on-2, even if it's like them coming up through all 5, they were doing a really good job of getting the puck into the middle and then bouncing it to the outside, or opposite, getting it to the outside, bouncing it into the middle. They were using speed much better through the neutral zone to break down Vegas's neutral zone. That wasn't really being seen as much. And because of that, I thought the game opened up a little bit more. And when this game's going to open up, especially if the neutral zone's going well for Dallas, they're going to have more opportunities to get these chances directly off the rush, to get those ones that, like, Robertson missed that toe drag one that was real dangerous. They had one earlier. I want to say it was Heiskanen hit the pipe, or maybe it got stopped. I couldn't really see on that one. There were a couple of chances. There was one other one that Hill made an unbelievable save on, that, like, if they keep getting this speed through the neutral zone, which is utilizing the speed and the bump play, if they can do that, it's definitely something that we need to see more, better defended, more awareness of where that's going to be, because that's pushing gaps back from the defenseman. And once those gaps are pushed back, now all of a sudden the puck's going to get in. The defensive player is further back into his zone. It leaves the drop-off play. It leaves this play towards the middle. It leaves all this open ice that was not there much at all in game 1, the Golden Knights' best game of the series. I thought game 3 was basically given to them. So I don't really want to go deep into game 3, and we didn't after game 3. But, like, that's the little adjustment that I think we saw, that the Golden Knights are just going to have to be aware that you're going to have to keep your gap up, and it's going to take forwards making sure that they're either slowing down that speed or taking away that bump play back to the player coming up. So that's the type of thing that I think over the course of the next, whatever it is, 40 something hours, 45 hours or 44, whatever it happens to be. I don't even know what, 5 o'clock. So yeah, something like that. once we get to the next game, I think the Golden Knights are going to have more answers for that, and they should be better. The last part, the last thing, which is probably like it's probably the main reason why the Golden Knights lost this game, is something I'm going to tell you after I tell you that Kondler and Associates CPAs present every Periscope this season on the road, at home, all of them, playoff Periscopes. I do them after every single game, thanks to Kondler and Associates CPAs, tremendous tax experts that can help you with all your tax needs. Go to KondlerCPA.com, KondlerCPA.com. Tell them SinBin sent you. They'll hook you up with a free consultation, and they'll probably talk some hockey with you if you want to do that. They are fantastic. You will not regret it. And, of course, I'm on the road because of Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling, VKDAC.com. I'll tell you a little bit more about them as we go. So the main reason that this game was probably lost, and I think it was, and it's hard to say it's necessarily why it was lost because the game's there in the third period. The Golden Knights played a pretty good period in the third period. So I don't want to go overboard and say, like, this is why they lost the game, but the stick battles and that kind of that aggression, that physicality, or at least mainly neutralizing the opposing physicality, was not there at the same level. And it's a little bit surprising to me because I don't think that Dallas's desperation showed up in any different way today than maybe it did in game 2, or maybe even it did after the game started to get a little bit out of hand in game 3. Like, I still thought they're trying to play that same way, and Vegas just was not as good in their stick battles. And that's something that should be fairly easily correctable. However, when you look at the course of the series now, Vegas was excellent in game 1, was unable to really extend that game and push that game out to make sure that it was not going to be a one-shot game towards the end. We end up in overtime. Vegas wins it in overtime. The second game, Vegas was definitely not as good. Dallas was not able to extend it out, and that's partially something that may have happened once again today, because they were unable to extend that thing out a little bit further, and all of a sudden the Golden Knights are in a position where they're right in the game, or have the lead, or it's tied for a good portion of this game, that they're missing net, they're off net. Those first two periods were not necessarily very good for Vegas, and it doesn't turn into 3-1, 4-1, 5-1 as it has in some of these losses in the past. But like through the course of the series, Vegas has not been the overly dominant team stylistically. Like, I think it was possible after we saw game 1 that was like, okay, well, that's an option. We can now see that. I thought today was the closest we've seen to what my expectation was of this series stylistically, which is the neutral zone's going to be clogged up. Both teams are going to get these opportunities when the rush chances bounce out. And now we're going to have these chances and see who's able to finish them, and we'll see which goalie's playing better. That brings me to the next topic, which is Adin Hill. He's been absolutely tremendous. Like, I'm blown away by how good this guy has been. Like, I literally cannot get over it. I think now, scores aren't up there anymore, but I think after the last goal goes in, is 940 goes down a little bit. But we went into overtime in game 5, his eighth playoff game of the season, and his save percentage was over 940. He was over 940 at the end of regulation today. This guy's been unbelievable, and the chances, I think they had 15 high danger chances that were tracked on Natural Stat Trick today. They were getting opportunities out in front. They were getting some of these rush chances. They were getting in close, and Adin Hill was absolutely terrific throughout all of this game. Like, for me, I had him as the second best, or no, I might have put him as first. I don't know. I had him in my 3 stars, I'll tell you that. And he ends up, giving up the game-winning goal. And I don't necessarily even think that's his fault. I think Martinez knocked the stick out of his hand. I've seen a lot about McNabb. I'll talk about McNabb in a second. But first, I'll tell you that there are great offers at VKDAC.com. Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling is the website, is the company. Go there, tell them SinBin sent you, and you'll hook you up with a pre-summer maintenance special. It's $50. They'll come out to your house and make sure that your air conditioner is working properly and ready to work properly when it gets even hotter. Today, players were bitching about the ice. It's getting hot. It is hot here in Dallas. I'm assuming it's hot in Vegas. I'm not there, but I'm guessing that it is hot. When it gets hot, you do not want your air conditioner to break, because that sucks. So go to vkdac.com, vkdac.com. Tell them SinBin sent you. They'll hook you up with a whole bunch of specials. They're on the site. They're on Twitter. They're all over the place. That's why I'm here. They have sponsored all my travel. I hope I don't have to come back to Dallas. I hope my next trip is to Fort Lauderdale on whatever day. I don't have the schedule memorized yet, but sometime next week. So, McNabb. Yes, McNabb was not good putting himself in the box in that situation. However, there's a fire before we get to the fact that McNabb high sticks the guy in the low slot. Like, we're in danger here. And to simply sit there and say, like, it's McNabb's fault that play happens, to me is a little bit ridiculous. Now, of course, probably don't want to high stick the guy right in front of the goal in overtime. The puck was kind of in the corner. Now, it possibly could end up getting out there. That's possible, but I don't think that's like a horribly undisciplined play. That's a play where he's trying to make the right play, get to the inside, put out this fire in the event that the puck does come back to the front. And he ends up catching the guy in high. It's unfortunate. It's disappointing. But that doesn't delete the fact that McNabb set up goal number 2 for Vegas. We're not in overtime if McNabb doesn't make that play across the Marshall. So it's a ridiculous pass that, like, I still can't believe it was McNabb. I looked at all the players out there. I'm like, well, this is the last guy that's going to make this pass. He's the one who made it. It's a sauce pass through the crease directly onto the stick of Jonathan Marchessault, so through a defenseman's legs. Like, and now we're killing him because he made a mistake in overtime, and it's not even that. It's like a hockey mistake. Like, it's overboard to me. And I know there was another penalty earlier, and they scored on the penalty, and it's not good when Braden McNabb's taking penalties because the Golden Knights penalty kill is not as good when Braden McNabb's not on the ice. So that is disappointing. Got to stop taking the penalties. But I don't think Braden McNabb had a terrible game or anything of that sort. In fact, I actually thought the worst group for the Golden Knights was oddly their depth today. So we didn't get a lot out of the fourth line. Like, there were a couple of shifts where they were able to kind of yellow puck shift it a little bit, and that would have been nice. And yes, I will get to the Golden Knights power play at some point. I don't even remember the one. Yeah, it sucked, right? It was terrible. I'll get to the power play and we'll talk about kind of where we're at on that moving forward, and penalty kill as a whole, or special teams as a whole. But, like, what was I talking about? Somebody remind me what I was talking about. I can't remember what I just had an idea. Depth not doing good. So yeah, there were a couple of yellow puck shifts by the fourth line, and they did have some offensive zone time, but they were not getting the puck to the goal. Like, we did not see Carrier driving the goal. We were not seeing them able to pull a puck off the boards and get it to the middle. And I thought that then when you flip it to the other side, you got a lot more out of the Fredrik Olofssons and Ty Dellandrias and Radek Foxas and those types of players. And they were getting those matchups against Vegas's depth and against Vegas's third line or third pair. And because of it, that's why I thought this game was unable to really build off some of the good shifts, because there were good shifts from Karlsson line. There were good shifts from the Stone line. There were definitely good shifts from the Eichel line. Again, I thought they were the most impactful line offensively in this game. So there was some good things coming from that, but the depth not being able to pinch in. And then, as I've talked about over the course of this series, the extra player, the spare player, I forget the fancy word Mike was using, they need to make an impact. I thought Brett Howden had a couple of chances right out in front that he was unable to get finished. I thought that Barbashev defensively had his worst game of the series, which I'm concerned about as we continue to go on, because that's where, if they can catch them in that spot and get Barbashev in the defensive zone, they can potentially have longer shifts. I thought that's partially at different times why the Robertson and Hintz line got going a little bit. So that's something we have to keep an eye on. And then Wah, I thought, didn't really have a huge impact in this game. You know, Smith and Karlsson make the play, but for the most part, Wah's puck holding ability in the offensive zone wasn't really there. Now, they didn't have the puck in the offensive zone as much. I thought Wah was fine in his own end. I thought Karlsson was excellent in his own end once again. So I'm not ancillary. Yeah, that's right. Ancillary. Good call. The ancillary player on the line. So in that respect, that was kind of a letdown, especially with the fact that they're without their captain. They're without another top six player. Maybe it's a middle six, whatever you want to call Evgeny Dadonov. they're without these players. They're putting in different players that haven't been a huge impact players over the course of the season, and Vegas loses that battle. That's a little bit disappointing, and that probably does need to change as we go forward. Talking about power play, I can't find the comment. It was up here somewhere. I don't know. Some has to comment about the power play, and I'll talk about that. I do remember the one now that I'm thinking about it. It was not good. It was a lot of passing from the point back to Eichel, and it was a lot of the issues we've seen in the past. Now, there was one entry into the middle that they got the puck into the bumper and they got it to Stevenson, and then he makes a sweet under the legs play back out to Marcia. So unfortunately, it did not completely come off, but that's the type of play we're looking to get. And what I liked about that, and what gives me hope for the series as we go forward, is that particular play was created by movement of Eichel, movement of Theodore, and then having that option underneath the goal in Mark Stone to make that play open up, to open that seam up into the bumper. When the Cassidy power play system is working at its best, the bumper has a huge role on it, whether it's taking the shots, generating the opportunity, or at the very least, forcing that box to be really tight around him so that we can get Stone more time underneath the goal where they are most dangerous. The shot mentality obviously was not there. They've got to be better there. The entries weren't particularly great, especially as the power play went on. But on the other side, Vegas's penalty kill, the entry defense has been tremendous. And that's a huge part of what we need to keep seeing as we go on, because as long as that entry defense continues to be good, the moments that they got today, and I'm aware that they did get 2 power play goals today, including the game winner, those moments are going to be fewer and farther between. And I don't think that they're going to be able to rely on their power play unless that entry defense starts to dissipate a little bit. And I don't think that that's what happened today. I thought it was good. Pavelski even mentioned it in his postgame that their power play was not going very well for a good portion of it. And then they end up getting this scramble chance and get this opportunity. And it is disappointing that that's how the game ends for the Golden Knights. But penalty kill wise, I actually think the Golden Knights have a pretty good plan. They're executing that plan. And today it's a bounce and then a scramble play that Martinez had a bit of a tough shift on that one, falling down, knocking the stick out of the hands, and then screening Hill. It's not very good. So we'll have to deal with that as we go forward. How does last change benefit VGK at home versus in Dallas? So I think for the most part, the biggest thing that it does is it gives them Pietrangelo on Hintz more. I'll have to look at some of the times. I haven't looked at all of that yet. We'll have to try to get to that and get some more information on that. But it gets a little bit more of Pietrangelo on Hintz. And then the bigger part is when there are a lot of offensive zone shifts that we want that are better opportunities, they can find those spots to get Eichel out there against the second or third line, get Eichel out there against somebody other than Heiskanen, and get these opportunities that really haven't been there. And Hakanpää obviously comes back in on the road games. I think if Hakanpää goes back in and stays in the lineup in the home games for Vegas, that's going to be a matchup that if we can get Eichel out there against him, that's going to probably open some things up and really start to flip the game a little bit more in Vegas's benefit. I saw somebody asked about if Eichel's not doing enough. I completely disagree. I thought he was the one driving the offense yet again, carrying the puck through the neutral zone, doing his job. He was very good yet again for me. It has been really, really impressive for me that he has been one of the most consistent players the Golden Knights have had at driving offense. That's something that we thought was a no-brainer when they acquired the guy. And then for 80 games that we've watched him in a Golden Knights sweater, or maybe it's even more than that, it just hasn't quite been the same as what we were expecting to get in the regular season. In the postseason, outside of game 1, series 1, it's been there as consistently as it needs to be. And then somebody else is mentioning that Eichel passes too much or whatever. I'll disagree. He's setting up these opportunities. He's getting the job done and making Marchessault. Marchessault's got 8 goals in 8 games now. So obviously Eichel's doing something right. Carlson's continuing to be that shutdown player, been awesome the entire series. I think he's only going to be continuing to be awesome. And he gets the 2-on-1. He takes the shot, not able to finish it. I thought the shot was a little bit low. He would probably agree with me. He wants to do better on that. That's disappointing. When you're up 3-0, you get in this situation, you love to get that closeout chance and have the opportunity, but whatever. Why is Eichel getting more talk than Marchessault for Conn Smythe? Because Eichel has more points than Marchessault, and Eichel didn't go 7 games straight to start the postseason without a goal. Yes, Marchessault's scoring a lot of big-time goals, and I do think Marchessault's kind of pushing his way back into the conversation, but Marchessault's going to have a really hard time taking over Eichel because every point or every goal Marchessault gets probably going to be a assist from Eichel. So Eichel's been good. And to me, Eichel's the one driving the line. Like Marchessault's been the extra, that's not called him the ancillary piece. I wouldn't go that far, but Marchessault's been the recipient of a lot of the good things that Eichel has been doing. So to me, that's something that you got to give more credit to Eichel. And then defensively, Eichel's playing center. He's doing a good job coming back. He's making life difficult through the neutral zone for the other team. Like Eichel's been awesome. I don't have much bad word to say about Eichel. And again, like I'm saying, and I'm surprised by it. And maybe I shouldn't have been. Like we knew he had it in him. It's just we didn't see it through the whole entirety of his time here. So it is a little bit surprising, like me. Did this feel like Hague's best game of the postseason? Definitely not. Numbers-wise, it was one of their worst. They were out there for a ton of high-danger chances against lower-end players. Yeah, I thought he was a little bit more aggressive in the offensive zone and getting some of the good opportunities. But defensively, I thought Whitecloud and Hague had their worst game of the series. I thought they were the ones struggling to get the puck out of the zone, maybe the most of any of the 3D pairs. And they were really resorting more to the brim outs and the flip outs that kind of invite that pressure onwards. So no, I definitely don't think that. And if anything, I think they're going to end up being towards the bottom of like the game scores and all of the XG numbers and all that stuff, because I thought they were out there in good matchups in good situations, taking on water a little bit more than I would have liked to have seen. Would I like to see any line changes for Game 5? No, I would not. I would leave it as is and see if the response is there. I would imagine you get a pretty angry Golden Knights team, knowing that this is a great opportunity to win a Western Conference in front of their home fans. I think they're going to go after it and try to get that done and make it happen at home. I would not change anything. I don't think a player needs to come in. I don't think a player needs to go out. Hopefully, there's no injuries that have cropped up that have gotten in our way here. I thought Howden got injured at one point. He was then back out there skating around full speed. So maybe I missed that. I don't know. Somebody wasn't. Somebody got hurt. Somebody told me it was Whitecloud, but he went to the wrong side of the bench. So whatever, not going to worry about that. I think that's all I got. Kondler & Associates CPAs. If anybody else has questions, put them in the chat. I'll take a couple more before I get out of here, and I'll read some ads while you guys type your questions in. Kondler & Associates CPAs are awesome for sponsoring every Periscope this season and this postseason for SinBin. They are a fantastic tax expert business. You can go to them with any of your tax needs, and they'll help you out. Business tax, crypto tax, gambling tax. Go to kondlercpa.com, KONDLERCPA.com, and tell them that SinBin sent you. They're fantastic. And of course, Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling. I wouldn't be here standing next to this blinking green lights on my forehead if it weren't for Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling. They have sent me to all the road games. They're going to continue sending me to road games. There has to be at least one more road game as we go forward. Hopefully there's more, like 2 or 3. I guess 2. Our hope is 2, right? Yeah, let's only go to Florida once. Yeah, that's the plan. So hopefully there's only 2. Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling is going to send me to all of them. Shout out to them. Please, if you need any help with your heating or cooling, go to them, vkdac.com. Any injury updates? I don't think there's much that even needs to be reported. Logan Thompson is still not here, has not joined the team. I don't think it's going to make any difference anyway. I don't think Logan Thompson can factor back into this team no matter what, unless there's an injury to both Hill and Quick. I think it's just too far away, so I'm not all that worried or concerned about what happens there and how that's going to go. Everyone else, to my knowledge, is healthy. Obviously, everybody's fighting something at this point in the year, but I don't think that there's anything too bad there. I'm looking for other question marks here. What am I going to do with all my free time before I go to the game? I'm definitely watching the U20 soccer game, which I'm pumped about that. We'll see how we do against Slovakia, try to win our group. That'll be nice. And then shout out to the NHL. No games in the Stanley Cup final on top of Nations League. So we got those soccer games at home. You're going to go see some good soccer games. There's great Nations Leagues games, USA Soccer at Allegiant Stadium. So I'm pumped about that, and might make my travel a little wacky on going back there for Game 6. Hopefully it's not, but we'll see. That's it. Any good food in Dallas? Yeah, I've had great barbecue multiple times. Heim barbecue was awesome. First time I've been there, it was great. Con Lodge, always amazing. We went to like this breakfasty, brunchy, homey, down south food place today, Ellen's. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I kind of made my own poutine. I had fried chicken, and then I poured the gravy all over the fries. It was good. Had a lot of mac and cheese while I'm here. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've had mac and cheese at 3 different places so far, so that's pretty wild. Golf was fun. Shout out to my buddy for getting us out to Hackberry Country Club. That was a great time. We had a good time out there. Jesse, Ryan, my buddy, my college roommate, getting us out there. So that was fun. I had a good time in Dallas. That being said, I don't want to come back. Don't make me come back. I do not want to come back to Dallas. Hopefully, this is the last time in Dallas for a long time. I do not want to come back, mainly because these green lights flashing on my face have not stopped for 31 minutes. God damn it. That's it. Golden Knights lose, but they're going to win the next one. Don't be too nervous. It's going to be okay. I promise you. It's going to be okay. And if it's not, then we're going to start panicking next time. So that's going to be a disaster. That's it. Good night. Thanks, Kondler and Associates CPAs. Thanks to Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling. I'm out of here. I'll see you back in Vegas. I'm kind of late tomorrow. I don't know. We'll do something. I want to do something. I got like 8 hours doing nothing tomorrow. We'll do something. I don't know, Twitter space or something on the tweets or something. I don't know. Stick around. I don't know. That's it. Good night. Joe Pavelski. Yeah.